I'm Erin Lawler Patterson, the Goodness Chick. I'm an international speaker, podcaster, counselor, author, and proud part of the Mental Health News Radio Network. Join me on the journey of empowering you to live life with an overflowing cup rather than an empty one. We look at mental health, self-care, addiction, relationship, and wellness, where we use our challenges to fuel us rather than consume us. This week's episode is all about learning how to treat yourself. Treat yourself. Too often in life, we have been wired, especially as females, that rewarding ourselves, celebrating things, tapping into the power of the beauty around us is something that is a reward, that it's optional versus something that's necessary for us and our well-being. And before we jump into today's episode, I'm not sure about you, but really, I'm going to say now the past 7-ish months since going through and dealing with everything with COVID, that's still obviously ongoing. I've been a lot more particular about what kind of stuff I allow to be filtered in, both what I'm reading, what I'm listening to. It is very, very easy to be sucked into just in an overwhelming state of just lethargy or being discouraged, frustrated. And so if you're looking for something powerful to read, inspiring, I'd love you to check out Conversations for Good, Listening and Learning to Our Neighbors Around the World. It is available on Amazon. It's my third book. I have 2 other books I'd love you to check out as well. This one in particular is a 10-month journey around the world, connecting with human beings that are truly changing the world through their kindness, through their mindset, through their efforts. And right now, I believe that message is something we need to hear loud and clear, the beauty and connecting with our fellow human beings. So as we jump into today's episode, looking at the aspect of treating ourselves. So this is where I'm coming from right now. The fact of we're now 6.5, 7 months into everything going on with COVID and a lot of other external things going on within our country, around the world. And with that, we can get in a state of kind of like cruise control where we're just almost accustomed to and used to being tired, used to being overstimulated, used to just kind of being now going and sometimes not even knowing what direction that we're in. And when it comes down to the aspect of finding like a reprieve from all the heaviness and from everything externally that's going on, and a lot of times also internally, it's finding ways to find joy in the now. So we're now kind of getting closer and closer to it actually being fall. So I have never in my life been so eager to throw out some, foam pumpkins, to kind of like, get some different senses going on in my house with my diffuser, where I'm like, I am so ready for a sense of change that I know for myself isn't even necessarily about the season, in terms of like it, fall, winter, spring, summer kind of stuff, but the season of life. Like I am ready for something to just be kind of fresh and new. I'm not sure about where you're at right now, but I know so many people that I've been speaking to will say, I'm just ready. I'm just ready to find things to celebrate about. I'm just, is it too early for me to rock out my pumpkin spice latte? This is what this message is for you to hear today. Right now, throw out the aspect of like, what people think is appropriate in terms of timeline for your pumpkins, timeline for what, for Hanukkah, thoughts about like, what your pumpkin spice latte, whatever things that we find joy in, right? That are healthy, that are positive. Allow yourself the permission to hear and repeat to yourself, it's okay. If you want to rock out some pumpkins right now, you want to go, if you can find some pumpkin picking, do it. Life is really, really short. We have in the last nearly year been through some very unprecedented times. And instead of us saying, well, I don't deserve that, and this connects to our self-value, you, as I've said in so many different episodes, are the only you that has ever existed, ever does exist, and that ever will exist, right? Out of the 7.7 billion plus people on this planet, there's only you. You might have doppelganger somewhere, right? You might have a twin, you might have a whatever, but your DNA is your DNA. There is no other you on the planet. And you were fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not an accident. And when we allow ourselves to reflect on, I'm a person of value. I'm awesome. Like I am made with purpose. And so again, maybe rocking out, maybe it's time to bring out those Post-it notes again and putting out, I'm awesome, all these different positive messages that we hear, and knowing that these little surges of treat yourself goodness are not something that are like, wow, I'm going to do this once a year. If we wait once a year, right, or if we're putting in our calendar twice a year, I'm doing this for myself, that needs to be adjusted. We have to send ourselves and believe and internalize this message that we're worth celebrating. We are worth finding things in our lives that just make us kind of stoked about being alive. I know for me, one of the things I really dig that it's like my, whether it's 10 minutes or it's a half an hour, that I'm able to take a bathtub, like with some funky, bubbles going on, and I have my essential oils, and I got, whether it's my lavender. I just finished, which I was super sad about. I had the sea salt that I got while I was in Israel, and oh my gosh, it was awesome, right? That is my zen, and it doesn't take a whole afternoon, doesn't take a whole day. And there are times that I absolutely have to remind myself, and sometimes my husband reminds me, go take a bubble bath, go relax, go unwind. What is your you time? And the treat yourself sends a message that I'm hitting the pause button, right? I'm hitting that pause button, and everything around me, even if it's 30 seconds, is stopping. And I'm just living in the moment. I'm allowing myself to just chill out a little bit, celebrate myself. I'm taking a bubble bath. I'm drinking a pumpkin spice latte. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to sit and have a cup of coffee, and it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm watching the stars, and I'm all by myself, and I don't have my cell phone, and I don't have this, and I don't have that distraction. And that's one of the things I'm going to tell you I'm personally beginning to really work on. I'm realizing that it's so easy to get caught in this like chasm, this abyss of like the stupid scrolling, right? Or looking at things. And I have my phone on me. I've been trying to really keep it away, where I'm like, do I really need this? Because what it really does, it not only has me losing time, but it absolutely 99.9% of the time, it heightens my anxiety, and it heightens my stress, and my productivity level as a human being decreases. And so working on the aspect of treat yourself is like, and I say this at presentations all the time, like, working with kids, they shouldn't have their cell phones in the room, at 2, 3 o'clock, midnight, getting, text, in the middle of the night. They don't need that. Well, there's certain things that we were not wired as human beings to deal with constant stimulation from technology constantly. And it's affecting our ability, not only in terms of how productive we are, but in terms of our self-worth. And also going back to the fact of like allowing ourselves just to breathe. We are always kind of going. And I know for many, many of us, not all of us, that during, lockdown for so many people, it was this really a slowdown, right? Because you like literally didn't have a choice. We would go for days without seeing people, right? Unless we were outside and somebody happened to be jogging past, and it was like, we spot a human. Those were some really tough and trying times. We move things up a little bit. These are some tough times right now for many, many, many of us. It's adjusting to all these changes. I don't know where you're at, but there's so many different layers that we can get kind of lost, overwhelmed, sucked into this of just going again. And there's not a new normal yet. I don't think for anybody. I don't even foresee when the heck that's going to happen, if that ever happens. But it's like where we're at, so many people are treading water. I feel overwhelmed. The aspect of treating ourselves, celebrating ourselves, taking time to just reconnect, chill our hearts. And again, that timeline can be different for everybody, but we have to believe that we are worth it. We have to believe that taking time for ourselves to just treat ourselves, whatever that looks like, what have you not done in a really long time that just makes you breathe a little bit easier, makes you laugh? What the heck is it? And then kind of connecting to that. I know one of the things I read a while ago, a few different books and some different posts on the aspect of decluttering. And for me, what I'm trying to do, I'm absolutely not the best at this, but I'm getting there, is where I'm connecting the aspect of enjoying my life better when I have less stuff. So I've been trying to like declutter, give stuff away, Trying to find things that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of, I haven't seen this in a while. I can actually use this now. Surprise, kind of cool. So everything's how you look at it, but decluttering I know some people can be a big thing. Taking it, 10 minutes twice a week to do something that maybe you just don't have the time during the rest of the week. And that can be kind of like squished into your schedule, whatever that is. Like I threw out the bubble bath thing. Another one for me is just like strumming my guitar, right? That for me is like a treat. I enjoy it. Can I do that every single day? I can't. It's not happening. Another one for me is surfing. I have not been surfing in quite some time, but for me, that is a treat. That is something that, dude, I'm out here. I'm just living. I'm breathing. And even if it's for an hour, it's a celebration. Too often, I think we can get caught in this web of, I will do that later. I will make time for myself later. I will celebrate me later when I hit 40. When I hit 50, when my kids are older, or when, I settle down and I get married, or whatever it is, we can get this weird wiring in our heads that I will do this later. Here's the deal, my friends. You are not promised tomorrow. And if you have people in your life that maybe you haven't connected with for a while that just fill your heart with joy, connect with them, FaceTime them. You can text them, you can call them. There's something awesome about another human being's voice, your people, that it uplifts us. Value the people that you have and find joy in those people that bring you joy. Because again, we can be weird sometimes in thinking, when I'm older, what's that mean? What does that mean? My grandmother was 99 when she passed away. She lived a really long life. For me to say that at somebody that's in her 40s, and she would say, Air, it went like that. It went like that. She could close her eyes and I could see herself transporting herself to when she was, 15, 20, 30, 40. And, and with that, life goes really quickly. It goes at a blink of an eye. Take time for yourself. Do not postpone the aspect of really living life, treating yourself and connecting treating yourself with the aspect of the people in your life that truly matter, that you love. The power of human connection is just tremendous. It cannot be overrated. And I promise you that from the absolute bottom of my heart. It's connecting that aspect that I do believe with us as human beings, we need human connection. And one of the lessons, I learned so many lessons when I was overseas, but the power and connection of just people. I interviewed so many people that had been through so many things and had done beautiful things with it. And for me, it was like that reminder, because sometimes we can be like, man, life is really tough right now. And I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm feeling really bummed out. And when we're alone in our thoughts, right, and we beat ourselves down and we don't allow ourselves to kind of be influenced by the positives of other people's trials and what they've done with that, we can then decrease our ability to treat ourselves, to celebrate ourselves, because we can get in a state of just feeling self-pity. We can feel sorry for ourselves. And that's very easy to do. That's kind of like this tightrope. It's avoiding doing that. And so when we allow ourselves to be around people that make us better people, that challenge us to be sharper, that challenge us to rise above, it does great things. And so this is where, if you're like, Air, I don't have a lot of those people. I know COVID is obviously still an ongoing thing, but, making accommodations, or if you are able to go out and volunteer somewhere, wearing a mask, go out and volunteer, connecting with a food bank. Right now, food banks are in dire need. I will tell you, you will love yourself more. You will feel a sense of just power, of goodness and self-worth, and just purpose when you give back, making that a part of your life. That doesn't mean you necessarily even have to go anywhere. Go through your house. What clothes have you not used in a while? Put them in a bag and bring them to an outreach program in your neighborhood, whether that's a Salvation Army, whether that's, whatever different programs you have going on. Google it, dude. Google within your county, within your town, what things, St. Vincent's is usually, just so many ministries, so many outreach programs that you can do goodness, and it will absolutely help with your mental wellness. It just does. We were not meant to serve ourselves. We were not meant to just focus on ourselves. The power of looking at other people has a massive impact on how we look at life, how we value ourselves. And when we value ourselves more, we don't have this sense of guilt or like weirdness about treating ourselves. That bubble bath, that 15 minutes outside under the stars, that going for a walk for 45 minutes, that I'm taking this pottery class. I'm going to play my guitar in the back room for 45 minutes. You fill it in. That blank, fill it in. What are your things that you can treat yourself to? And I will tell you right now, make a list. Make a list. What are your top 5 things that fill your cup? Things that you're like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Treat yourself. Get it going on. And it drives me crazy when we refrain from celebrating our own lives, right? One of my favorite poems is The Dash, right? The one thing we collectively have together as human beings. We take our first breath, okay? The first part of the date that you were born, there's a dash, and then there's the date that you've taken your last breath. We all have that in common, right? Whenever the heck it is, and you don't know when it is, how will you live your dash? Because I'll tell you something, no one's ever going to be sitting and thinking, man, I wish I worked more. Man, I wish I got more stressed out about that. Too often, it's, man, I wish I lived. Refuse to refrain from treating yourself, from celebrating yourself, from living life, even in the midst of a pandemic. Find joy, even in the craziest and hardest of circumstances. Pursue it, fight for it, and know there will be light at the end of the tunnel. And I want you to know this today, my friends. You, fill in your name, wherever you're from. All right. We've got, I did a look the other day. It's like, 25 different countries around the world listening to this podcast. Gets me so excited. So wherever you are, Eastern Standard Time, all the way around the globe, fill in your name. You're awesome. You are worth it. And find time to treat yourself. And as we rock out today, my friends, I'm wishing you a tremendous overflowing cup of peace, love, and goodness. If you enjoyed today's episode, there's a lot more encouragement and life-kicking strategies on goodnesschick.com. Have a great day, my friends.